my story isn't the worst one you've ever heard, but the point is it still happened, and there's no such thing as a worse story or better story.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Maloof, and I'm trying to embark on a journey right now to tell the story of different people from every walk of life with the shared interest of trying to help people overcome their own mental illness. For today's episode, we're going to showcase a really good friend of mine named Camryn. And when I originally asked Camryn on if she wanted to join this series, she jumped at the opportunity right away. Why did she want to do that? Well, let's just let her tell you.
I'm here because I want to tell many people the different ways of combating mental health and different ways that we can just speak about it as a community. Just letting people know that it's not a simple process and it's okay to experience it.
Cam is right. It's okay to experience mental health. It's actually rather common. But what most people don't understand is that it's not something that just creeps up on you overnight. It happens over time.
It was an ongoing thing. It's not something that just came up right now. It started definitely in high school. I was experiencing some weird moods that weren't, I didn't recognize. I was always someone that could just go out, do something, and make the best out of myself, but I was experiencing times where I just didn't want to do anything for myself. So I had some friends that I could talk to about it, and which was great. It helped a lot. So they reached out to some high school guidance counselors who told me I should go to the emergency room, which then I was hospitalized for depression and anxiety. From there, it was the start of something that I know I could grow from. I know it wasn't going to be an easy process right from the start, but I know that was the lowest I've ever been, and I know it could only get better, which is something I kept telling myself, which gave me a little bit of hope every time.
See, Camryn turned what most people would think of a negative into a positive, and chose rather not to dwell on the fact that she was hospitalized, but to fight every day with the goal of getting better. But the question is, how did she fight?
For me, it was definitely listening to my own voice and not blocking out the help that I was getting from everyone, but I feel like with mental health, everyone feels like they have their own picture of a cure, and everyone was telling me different ways to combat it. And
at this point, Camryn and I had a little laugh because I can be accused of doing this myself.
Okay, for example, someone, I'm not gonna say who, they just kept saying, you have so much going for yourself, you shouldn't be this way. While even though I did have so much going for myself, that has nothing to do with mental health. And I have someone else saying, oh, maybe you should just see more friends or go out and do stuff. My friends definitely did help, but that is not a cure. Someone else told me that I needed to take some medication, which I did, but that's not one thing that could help me.
And there will almost never be just one cure. But what people have to do is try and try and try every day in order to find some sort of balance within their lives.
It was essentially a trial and error to see what could help me, but I found that family was a big aspect of it, and knowing that I'm in a social group that will always accept me. Same with my friends. I would always go to them if I needed some help. I didn't essentially need to talk about it, but I just needed to know that someone was there and someone could make me happy or laugh.
And as someone who suffers from their own depression, Camryn is completely right. If someone can help you laugh and smile, it almost makes you forget as if you have any issues at all. But like Camryn also said, it's more than just 1 or 2 steps in order to get better.
Also, just telling myself it's baby steps, not even just with the process, but any goal that I set. I know I psych myself out saying I need to do this at a certain time and I need to achieve something right away, but nothing comes that easily. You have to work towards it.
And every day is a new fight. You might get hit with something new mentally that you haven't seen before. But if you decide to work on yourself every single day, you will not only learn how to conquer your mental health, but to learn how to live with it and still thrive.
Just because I didn't realize there was such a big difference as I was working towards where I want to be, but there's definitely a difference. There were some drawbacks.
And that's just part of life. You will have setbacks.
I lived away from home second year, and that was just such a bad time. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to see anyone or make an effort to do anything.
But it's just how you decide to get up and continue the fight.
I didn't take a step back. I just think that's all part of the improvement. And I saw what was wrong. I knew how to fix it. And I think that's a huge thing to do, just because I was able to recognize what I should do for myself. And that just made me really proud of myself and who I am today.
One of the reasons that Cam was able to stay true to her own goal was because of music and her family.
Because music is something that was near and dear to me ever since I was 3, or even before then. My grandma is a pianist, my sister's a pianist, my brother plays guitar, my family sings all the time. It was just always something that was familiar, and that familiar aspect really grounded me to a happier time, which is also why I love learning songs. I love singing. I love playing piano, ukulele, guitar. And yes, I do use it as a distraction, but not in a bad sense. It's just to uplift any negative moods. It's not something that I use to avoid the issue, but it's just something that is always there and I could trust.
Sometimes having familiarity in your life is truly outstanding. It helps you stay grounded, it helps you find hope, and it gives you a sense of self-empowerment. Now, before Camryn shows us her musical talents, which are absolutely amazing, she wanted to share just one more message to everyone watching this video.
Your case is not the same as the other case. And all people who are dealing with some sort of mental illness need to realize that they are not alone, but they are not the same. And it's important to find something that makes you happy and grounded in the long run, or even just as a little distraction. But it's important to note that you're not alone and you always have someone.
And high up above or down below, when you're too in love to let it go. But if you never try, you'll never know just what you are. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
I love it.
If you like music like me, you can take on an instrument or try to relate to my story. And I know that my story isn't the worst one you've ever heard, but the point is it still happened. And there's no such thing as a worse story or better story. Mental illness is just something that no one should experience, or it's hard to avoid, but it's not something that I would want anyone to experience.
And high up above